Okay guys, so today we are going to start chapter 10 and we're going to focus on meiosis this time. So last time we went over mitosis, and mitosis is going to be all of our normal cells in our bodies. This is going to be our skin cells, our brain cells, lung cells, heart cells, whatever type of cells that are not germ cells, that are not gametes, okay? So in this chapter in meiosis, we are going to concentrate on those gametes, on those germ cells. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we make our sex cells in our bodies, okay? So here is a picture of a karyotype, and if we look at this one, every single one of our cells has all of these chromosomes in that cell. Now, oops, sorry guys, that's Lily. There we go, okay. So every single one of our cells in our body has all of these chromosomes, okay? But there's a difference between the amount of chromosomes that are in our cells. So let's say we're going to deal with a skin cell, okay? This is what a skin cell would look like. Skin cells are going to be diploid. And in diploid, we have this prefix di, and di means two. So what diploid means is we have two of each of our chromosomes, okay? So we can go from number 1 all the way to number 23 down here, which number 23 really isn't labeled, all right? We'll talk about 23 later because that one's special. But every single one of these, if we look at number 1, there's a chromosome, and there's a chromosome, okay? These are the chromosomes that you got from your mom and your dad. Let's say this one here came from mom, and this one here came from dad. Okay. When fertilization happened, when the two different sex cells came together, when the gametes came together, a sperm and an egg came together, and when they fused, okay, they made a zygote, and that is the first cell of any kind of life. So when that happened, when sperm and egg fused, the DNA, or these chromosomes, they also came together, okay? And that's what made you guys. So if this is a normal cell, and we say normal cells are diploid, okay? When we're talking about sperm or egg, the sperm or egg has to not be diploid. And we call that haploid. And this is only one of each chromosome. Okay. Why do we only want one? Well, we only want one because we want sperm to have one copy of each. We want the egg to have one copy of each. When they come together, the two haploid cells will make a diploid cell. Okay, so the diploid cell is actually like two haploids coming together. So this is a karyotype of a diploid cell, as we talked about a little bit earlier. If I wanted to draw the karyotype of a haploid cell, here's what it would look like. We're going to get rid of that guy. We're going to get rid of that guy. You guys see where I'm going with this. I'm getting rid of each one of our chromosomes in each number. All right. Okay, sorry guys, it's taking longer than I thought. All right, so I got rid of one of each of them, except number 23. I didn't talk about number 23 yet, all right? So number 23, we are going to have to get rid of one of these, all right? Now, it's a little bit different with number 23 because females, if you're a female, you have two X's. And if you're a male, you have an X and a Y. So this person would automatically be male. Okay, so let's just talk about that. Let's get rid of the female here. So we know this person is male. Now here's what happens. The male in one of its gametes is going to either donate an X or a Y to that sperm cell, which will then later fuse with the egg. Okay, half of his sperm are going to have X's and half of his sperm are going to have Y. Now, watch this. If the sperm cell that he donates and the one that fertilizes the egg, if he does this, where he donates the X and that sperm cell has an X in it, that baby is going to be a female because the mom, she only has X's. She's XX, so she can only donate an X. All eggs are going to have an X in them. If the male donates an X, that baby's going to be XX, which is female. We can go the other route. And let's say if the X is gone in that sperm cell, now that baby is going to have the X from the mom, from the egg, and the sperm is going to have a Y, so that baby's going to be male. So who determines the sex of the baby? Well, yeah, it's the male, okay? The dad does. All right. Sorry, guys, that was a long slide. Okay, here's just some vocab words for you guys. Difference between heredity, variation, and genetics. Genetics, we actually offer genetics class. It's the study of heredity and variation. We're going to go over how variation happens, how you guys look different than your parents, and why you might have a brother or sister and you look different than them. Okay. Heredity is just a transmission of traits from one generation to the next. All right. When we combine heredity and variation, this is how we account for all the differences between you and your family members. And even if you are identical twins, there still is some variation. Very hard to see it, but there still is some variation there. Okay, we're skipping that. Okay, so just starting off section 10.1. Okay, we're going to talk about genes and then gametes. We already talked about gametes a lot, guys. Gametes are going to be, the sperm and the egg. All right, they are different than all of your other cells, your somatic cells. Okay, so we have somatic cells and then we have gametes. Somatic cells, these are going to be your skin cells, lung cells, so on and so forth. And the gametes are going to be just sperm and egg, and those are the only two. Remember, guys, that gametes are going to be haploid. All right, they're haploid. And then genes are just segments on a strip of DNA, guys, okay? They're going to account for, hey, why is your eyes blue or green or brown? Why is your hair a certain color? Why do you act a certain way? So on and so forth. All right? All right. So all of our genes, which in the Human Genome Project, we have mapped out a good bit of what each gene does. The Human Genome Project, guys, we do have all of the human genes mapped out. We just don't know 100% what each one of them does right now. Okay, but they're working on it. So we call it a locus, and that is the specific part on a chromosome where a gene is. So if we wanted to draw a quick chromosome here, I'm not going to go crazy with it. Whoops. Okay. So there is one part. There's the next part. And I'm just going to talk about eye color. Maybe right here, there is our gene for eye color. If we go over to the other chromosome right here, the gene for eye color is going to be in that exact same location. Now, it might be for green eyes, it might be for a different color. All right, it could have some variation to it. It doesn't have to be the exact same, because don't forget, you get one chromosome from your mom, one chromosome from your dad. But those genes will be in the exact same location no matter who you're getting them from. All right, so for mitosis, mitosis is asexual reproduction. What we're doing here is we are taking a cell and we are making two new cells from that one cell. All right, that is pretty much a clone. Our DNA is the same in mitosis. Hopefully, if it's a mutation, then that's bad. But so for asexual reproduction, mitosis, we are making a clone. For sexual reproduction, we are going to have two parents, and something is going to happen where we have a fusion of our two cells. All right, in our example, sperm and egg, and we are going to produce a new offspring that is going to not be identical. So that's sexual reproduction. It's not identical. Okay. All right. So actually, we're going to skip that one, guys. We don't have to go over that. So we're going to go over the life cycle of a few different organisms here. We'll go over us and plants and fungi, and then we will call it a day because I'm not going to go over all the steps of meiosis today, guys. That'll take way too long. So we talked about karyotypes already at the beginning of this, and the picture of all your chromosomes listed, that's a karyotype. All right. Somatic cells, we already showed that. That's the diploid karyotype. They have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So each chromosome, 1 through 23, has 2 chromosomes. So what we call them, whenever they're pictured in that manner, where we have one from mom, one from dad pictured, we call them homologous chromosomes. All right. Are they identical? No, they're not. They are just the same chromosome, but you get one from mom, one from dad. Okay, so when we have a picture, let me go to the picture here. These are homologous chromosomes. If you look at chromosome number 1, you got, let me just label it here. This one here, you got from mom, or we could say the egg. This one here, you got from dad, and that's from the sperm. You best believe that these chromosomes are not going to be identical. They are going to be different. We do not want mom and dad's chromosomes to be the same. Okay, that'd be like they're siblings or something like that, you know. But no, we don't want that, obviously. Okay, so these are called homologous chromosomes. All right, so they are not identical. Okay. In homologous chromosomes, guys, again, they're the same number. So chromosome number 1, we have one from mom, one from dad. They're going to be the same length, pretty much. We'll talk about telomeres later on, which could be some slight variation between length. But they're going to be pretty much the same length, and they're going to be definitely the same shape because they're both the same chromosome. All right. So here's your karyotype again, guys. Now, just to differentiate, we have homologous chromosomes. All right. Now, during mitosis, if you remember during S phase, we had a portion where we are going to duplicate our chromosomes. So that way we keep it the same at the end, and we are still going to have 46 chromosomes. So we start off with 46, we duplicate it, we get up to 92, and then we distribute those chromosomes between the two different cells, which brings us down to 46 again. Okay, so these are homologous chromosomes. You get one from, let's say these ones here. These are from mom. These are from dad. Okay. What we have here, though, is these are already duplicated. So this is at our stage where we're going to have 92 instead of 46. All right. So what happened here, guys, is the mom or the dad, either one, we had this one, and it went through S phase, and now we have 2 of them. Okay, so now we have 2 of them there. What we call those, because those should be identical, we call those sister chromatids. So they are going to be identical. All right, so let's go over the terminology real quick. Homologous chromosomes, they are one from mom, one from dad. They are not identical. Sister chromatids, that is when moms replicate or duplicate and dads do the same thing. So sister chromatids are both from mom or both from dad. This is after they've been duplicated, so they will be identical. Okay. Now the mom sister chromatids are not going to be identical to the dad sister chromatids, but both of the dad sister chromatids are going to be identical to one another. All right. Okay, so we already talked about this, guys. Females, they're XX. Males are XY. I'm going to go back to this real quick. This one, actually. Number 1 through number 22, all right, all those there. These chromosomes are called our autosomes. Okay, and then our XY, oops, those are your sex chromosomes. So they're just to give you a picture of them. So 1 through 22, okay, those are your autosomes. Number 23 only, that's your sex chromosome. And then we already talked about diploid. Another way they write diploid, guys, is 2n, meaning they have 2 times our number of chromosomes. For us, n is 23, so 2 times 23 is going to be 46. For other organisms, guys, it is different, just so you know. Every organism does not have 23 chromosomes. Humans are the only one that have that. Okay, we already went over that one. So here's another one, guys. You guys can see here our n, our number of chromosomes for this organism would be 3. Okay. So n equals 3. We have a diploid number of 6. Now, after S phase, okay, if we think about this organism here, our 2n number is 6. So our normal cells, skin cells, whatever, have 6 chromosomes. After S phase, we would have a total of 12 chromosomes altogether, okay? And then for us, that number's 92. Try to move myself out of the way here a little bit. All right, so this one here, guys, again, we already went over haploid. Haploid is when we have half the number of a diploid cell, meaning instead of having 46, we have 23. In other words, we have 1 copy of each chromosome. In an egg, as long as it's unfertilized, another word for that is a ovum. If you guys see an oocyte, spelled oocyte, that's another word for the egg. Okay. But anyway, so the egg we talked about, it can only donate the X. If it's a sperm cell, it might be equipped with the X or the Y, and that's what's going to determine the baby, right? The sex or the gender of the baby. Okay, so during fertilization, which we already talked about this again, guys, the sperm, the egg coming together. Once they come together, they are 2 haploid cells. They come together, those chromosomes fuse, they now become a diploid cell once that fusion happens and once all the chromosomes come together. We call that a zygote. So a zygote is formed by fertilization of the sperm and the egg. Okay. After that, the zygote is going to start going through replication. It's going to go over and over and over again. But what type of replication is it going through? Well, it's obviously there. You know, if you're a little baby, there is no reason to be going through meiosis. You have no business making sperm or an egg at that age, okay? So the zygote is just going to try to build up its body parts. So it's going to go through mitosis over and over and over again. And it's going to be doing this a lot, which is kind of why babies sleep a whole lot. Okay, so in our bodies, gametes are the only ones that are produced by meiosis. Every single other cell is going to be made by mitosis. There are some different organisms, which I'm going to go through here. We'll go through plants, see if we get to fungi today. I don't want to go too far over our time. But so what we're going to do for us is our gametes are going to be formed by the fusion of two haploid cells, okay? But some organisms are a little bit different. So here is kind of like us here. All right, we have the mouse here. Mouse is very similar to us. For a plant cell, it's going to be a little bit different. And then over here we have fungi. So I'm going to go over the plant and the fungi real quick and just show you guys how theirs is a little bit different than ours. So plants are going to exhibit something called alternation of generations. So we have two different parts to a plant. We have a sporophyte and a gametophyte part. The sporophyte is going to be diploid. So sporophyte's going to be diploid, and I'll go over the rest of that later on. The haploid part is called the gametophyte. Now, if we look at this, if you look at a plant here, the plant has two different parts. It has this leafy structure at the bottom. That's the gametophyte. And then up top, it has this area, which is going to be our sporophyte. And each part of that plant has a different type of cell. So the sporophyte up top has a diploid. They are made of diploid cells, okay? What's going to happen is those diploid cells are going to go through meiosis. So the sporophyte goes through meiosis. And when it goes through meiosis, it forms little spores. It releases those spores. And then those spores are going to be kind of scattered all throughout wherever it's being planted at. We'll say it's in the forest. Those spores are going to be scattered all throughout the forest. And then they are going to grow into little gametophytes here. Okay? They're going to go into gametophytes. What's going to happen is those gametophytes are going to keep going through mitosis. So they're going to grow and grow and grow. As they grow, they're still going to be haploid cells. As they grow them, they are going to, either by their own fertilization or cross-fertilization of another type of the same plant, they are going to go through fertilization. Okay? When they get through fertilization, they are going to be able to form a sporophyte. So it's like the plant's almost growing up. So we will have a sporophyte shooting out of the gametophyte. And then those cells, the sporophyte will grow, and go through a bunch of mitosis. And overall, it will then be able to go through meiosis, make more spores, and make more of its own kind. All right, so that is plants. They're a little bit different than us, as they have pretty much two separate parts. But it's not like us where we just have sperm and egg. They have a bunch of different areas. Okay. So we'll stop here, guys. We'll go over fungi next time. I think I gave you guys enough to chew on today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.